Hello, and welcome to the Kombat Cast.
It's been a while.
It has been quite a while. We've been shooting gifts out, talking about our latest balance patch.
There's a lot coming.
And that is what today is all about. Let's do a quick introduction real quickly. We got Derek.
Hello, hello.
Jen, as usual, say hello.
Hello.
And our special guest for a few minutes, Mr. If that. Mr. Ed Boone is going to talk a little bit about what we did with the balance patch.
Yes, I was hoping to give a little bit of an introduction to it because there's going to be so much more detail that these guys are going to fill in, but I really wanted to kind of start with just a rough explanation of our philosophical approach towards this balance patch. We are constantly listening to players, hearing seeing what happens at tournaments and etc. like that. And when we kind of set out to do this balance patch, our kind of highest level goal was to take, imagine the top 5 characters, or the perceived top 5 characters, it's all kind of subjective, and the bottom 5 characters, or the perceived bottom 5 characters, and basically take that and move things towards the middle. Obviously, we want to get as close as possible to a completely balanced game, but we really didn't want to do change everything around so it's not even the same game anymore. We really wanted to just kind of take those kind of two extremes and move them towards the middle, and a lot of doing that takes a lot of fine detail, of which these guys are going to get into. But from that high level, we really wanted to make sure that everybody understood that that was our goal, really, to do that. Now, some changes were done to the middle characters as well. And as these guys will point out to you also, some of the changes that were done to the higher tier characters will affect the other characters just because of matchups and everything. A lot of, as everybody probably knows, a lot of what these fighting games are about are matchups. So we really wanted to make sure that all the characters maintain their core, strategy and fighting style and their identity, but kind of smushing things towards the middle and hoping that is going to result in a more balanced, more fun fighting experience.
Now, and you said also, like, there will be some, we see a lot of Twitter, we get a lot of tweets from people, and people, like, where's my character gift? What's happening to my character? Now, there are some characters who didn't get a lot of things directly to impact them.
Yes, but
like
changes
you said,
to the other characters.
Yes. And we'll talk about, at the beginning of our patch notes, there's a lot of universal changes we've implemented that will help a lot of those characters too.
And again, that's going to be some of the details. These guys have a ton of great news, basically, to tell you, and the patch notes will be released soon.
Yes.
When did it get released?
Well, we're going to try to. So after the stream is over, we're hoping after probably an hour stream, a little longer. Sure. I hope to have it up by 5 Central, and we will tweet out a link on NetherRealm. You'll tweet it out. Sure. I'll tweet it out. Sure. You'll tweet it out, and you'll be able to read them in depth. Because obviously during this stream, we cannot get to everything.
Exactly.
And in the patch notes, we've gone very in depth, more so than we really ever have.
Oh yeah.
Into small, minute changes that you're going to want to see. Obviously, we're not going to be talking about 2 frames off of this. There's just no time for that. Exactly. But tonight, you guys can tear them apart all night because they'll be online.
Yeah, exactly. So I just really wanted to kind of open with that, and then with that, we're gonna bring in Paul and Steve.
We got Paul and Steve here. Before we do that, we do something that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Is that when you download the patch, because tomorrow the patch is live, along with very important Mortal Kombat XL on PC.
That was a difficult thing for us to bite our tongues on for months.
The amount of tweets we got, we couldn't say a word.
Yeah, we were listening, we just couldn't respond.
And we were smiling, but also kind of like, oh, I wish you could say something. But it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah. So everybody will be together at the same time.
With this patch as well. Exactly. But those on console, the mobile game. All the things you could do on the mobile game to unlock on console.
Skins, backgrounds, currency.
Tons of stuff. All that stuff, when you download tomorrow, if you haven't played the mobile game, and we hope you have, because a lot of people are, and it's great.
And it's a lot of fun.
You're going to get all of those for free right away.
So with classic skins, Farmer, Mine.
I think the best way to do that...
It's an embarrassment of riches, and how are we going to show them that?
We have a video that's about 45 seconds of things unlocking. Yay! So, Jen, if you could hit that. Thank you very much, Ed. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts now.
Okay.
All right, so that was Ed Boone. Great to have him on the Kombat Cast.
I don't know if you've heard of him. Kind of a big deal.
Yep. And now we have some other guys. We got Paulo Garcia, one of our lead designers here at NetherRealm. And you know Steve Brownback, OSU 16-bit, washed-up tournament player. Too much?
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
It's accurate.
It's accurate, yeah. So what we're going to talk about today is sort of what this patch is. It's a very big patch affecting a lot of characters and a lot of things throughout the game.
Gameplay in general,
yes.
Right?
What we do want to say, too, is there'll be some questions. Like, we are going to continue to support this game with our patches. If something is, if something happens through this, we will continue looking at and continue listening to you to see, what's going on with the game. That said, I want to give a quick shout-out to Mr. Alex Valle, who has... Great guy.
Yes.
If you haven't met him, Alex is one of the nicest guys in the community.
Absolutely. Probably been in the community longer than anybody you know. He's outstanding.
Let's be cool about it.
Okay, yeah.
But he is running SCR, which is in about 11 days, something like that, 14 days, 11 to 14 days, which will be using this patch. So tomorrow, get on, start grinding. So thanks to Alex. And also there's $10,000 as a pop bonus at SCR. Let me add this as well, which we haven't talked about. We are continuing to support Mortal Kombat XL. There are a couple more big pop bonuses coming to tournaments that we have not named yet. Ooh. And we'll be announcing those in the coming weeks.
Can I guess some?
It's actually kind of easy to guess at this point.
Okay.
So no guessing.
Leave that out.
Let's get started, huh? Cool. So Paulo, just the first question, Ed kind of touched on it a little bit about general philosophy from bringing everything back into the middle, making sure everything's kind of balanced as a balanced patch would. What was your philosophy going into this?
A lot of it is just paying attention, like what's going on with matches, and then listening to the players. Like a lot of people get frustrated and think that we're not like listening or watching what they're doing, but we always are. It's just a matter of knowing when to do those changes. And we wanted to make sure that like the ESL Season 3 and EVO, we didn't do something too close to those. So we wanted to make sure the game sat for a while. We wanted to watch what people are doing and to keep up with patterns we were seeing and things, and then going from there.
And I will say, when we say that we watch the games, I've walked into your office many times, and he has like a
multi-screen Twitch
6 cast of different Mortal Kombat streams are running.
Yeah, and a lot of it's even looking at data. Like anytime people play the game, there's data being collected on what's going on with matchups and stuff. And we just look at that raw data too, because that's a lot of very informative. And then also just listening to the players directly. It's just a matter of filtering all that information and figuring out where to go from there.
And about every 20 minutes I hear, Paulo, the ice clone! Like I usually hear that, absolutely, yeah.
So we're definitely looking at all that sort of stuff, kind of pulling emotion out of it and just figuring out what's really best for the game.
Yeah.
So let's, I guess, first discuss something that's kind of going to affect everybody. Let's just discuss some general gameplay changes.
So a lot of it is when you start running. Now it costs a little more for you to initially start running. So before it cost like 15 of your energy top bar at the top, where now it costs 25. So just initially starting running will cost a little bit more of a bar. Another thing is if you get hit while you're running, it'll eat up half of your energy. So if I'm running at him and it hits me, it'll eat up half the bar of energy. So a lot of times if you're trying to run in, advance in, and you get punished or countered for it, you'll end up taking some of your stamina away, and then it's going to be longer before you can break.
So that's good for like people who are trying to pressure you super hard. If you're able to read that and stop the pressure,
yeah.
You've put them at a pretty significant disadvantage.
Yeah, and it also affects like characters that rely off of run cancels, dash cancels. That'll bring them down a little bit too, without affecting their general overall gameplay.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, it's basically a way to make you think a little bit harder before you just run in and begin your offense. Just a little bit.
Okay.
Cool. And that'll affect, a character like Cassie, who uses run and a lot of her combos, and any character that has really, really good offense and uses run in their combos,
You'll be a little more careful.
Right. And like Paulo said, you have to use your resources to break. So if you start off running and you get hit and you need to break, it's longer you have to go before you can break. So it adds a little bit more risk to running in.
Gotcha. Excellent. Moving on to some other, we got some air attack changes.
Yeah, so a lot of times when you do your jumping attacks, the area that you can be hit on, like people call it the hurt box, that area actually gets bigger, and it's usually done that. But now it actually gets bigger 1 frame before your attack actually gets hit. So a lot of times, if somebody's going to reading that you're jumping in and they go to attack you, they'll have a higher chance to succeed with their anti-air if they time it correctly.
Okay. Also, there's a lot of down twos that have been.
Yeah, in general, we made sure that all the uppercuts were at least a consistent speed, and we sped up some. And also, there were some hitbox adjustments on ones that we felt just didn't have the same amount of reach as other ones.
Okay, excellent. What else we got here?
Delayed wake-ups.
Can we discuss the delayed wake-up?
This one let Steve explain.
The delayed wake-up will no longer work if you're holding the block button. So this will make it easier to do like a wake up, come out, teleport, or a wake up move that uses down up, because it will no longer get you confused.
Yeah,
if you're hitting the boss.
same thing with trying to do a enhanced move on wake up. If you're sloppy with your inputs where you go down and block, and sometimes you'll get a late wake up. So now if you're doing your inputs correctly, they'll come out more consistently.
I've never had the problem because I'm not sloppy with my inputs.
Yeah,
I'm
I noticed
very,
that.
I'm
You're
very
perfect.
exact.
When you think of Tyler Lansdowne, you think clean, precise play.
Thank you.
Execution.
Right.
There's been some changes in armor, which I guess some of the gifts we sent out kind of touched on. So we want to talk about that. This is kind of a pretty interesting change.
Yeah, like overall, just it seemed like characters either had one armored move that was way better than the other move. So we generally try to make it where everybody's armor. We wanted to sort of even the playing field a lot of them. So a lot of people that had armored moves that were like special moves that would start combos. So those, a lot of them either don't have armor or don't start combos anymore. The same thing with other moves, which were they had armor but they weren't really that useful. They just gave you some damage. Those will either have be more plus on block, do more damage, or some of them have 2 hits of armor now. And that'll be covered in general patch notes, and there was a good deal of those, but a lot of it was just making the armors more on the same playing field.
Okay. And just one, this is sort of a normalization, a word we like to use, of moves that were extremely advantageous.
Yeah, and some of it was just a lot of times you felt like your character was stuck in block longer than he should have. So a lot of times you try to make it where there's still the same amount of block advantage, so the attacker will get out at the same time as the defender, but we want to make sure that you just didn't feel like you were stuck in block. And there was a lot of those, like Koto's like sword sweep was one where you felt like you were stuck there forever, where now both of them recover a little bit quicker, just to make the pacing the game feel a little bit faster.
Okay.
And there were a lot of EX moves that would leave you at double-digit block advantage, like plus 12 on block, or there were some normal attacks that would leave you at plus 10 on block or something like that, and they've been slightly scaled down, which you'll see throughout the patch notes. Like maybe something that used to be plus 10 might only be plus 4 now or something.
Yeah, and some other ones to the reverse got better, where there were some like armor moves before where before there wasn't really a reason to use them. Now some of those are more plus on block.
Excellent. Okay, so here's how we're going to work through this. We have a bunch of character matchups we're going to go through. Now keep in mind, there are 3 variations per character. We literally can't do everything. So we're going to show some of the stuff that's easier to see. Now your characters are still going to get some things that will help your character, or in some places hurt your character, but you'll have to read those in the patch notes. We're going to show you the stuff that's very easy to kind of go through and see. And the first matchup we have selected is Tarkatan Alien,
Ooh.
as the cheers erupt from the chat, versus Hat Trick Kung Lao. So let's talk about what we're going to show here with Alien. Let's start with Alien.
Well, the first thing is we normalize the tail flip. It is now minus 10 on block for the regular one.
Oh, I can hear people cheering.
You can get a
I can actually hear it.
And the hitbox of it has been adjusted to not be the whole tail. You kind of have to hit them with your feet. See? And that applies to the air one. And then the EX one was made minus 28, I believe. So it's going to be a little bit easier to punish. Sometimes in tournament, it was kind of hard to punish, even though it was always punishable. Now, there's no excuse not to get the punish. And like a lot of the armored launchers, it does not have armor, the EX one. It's still an overhead, so it's still a great move. But you'll have to use his other armored moves if you want to, get out of pressure.
Okay.
Great.
And like Tarkatan, for example, his enhanced chop chop move, that one has 2 hits on it. So there are like certain setups of like Tony and stuff with the alien where he won't be able to get up. If you pick Tarkatan Alien, he's got a unique 2-hit armored special move, so there'll be a reason to pick that variation.
And we're going to see that a lot through a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of a move that previously was kind of redundant. Like, why would you not do the EX tail flip? Right. It's now split across where you do the tail flip if you want the overhead and the range. You do chop chop shop if you want, to get off me, stop the pressure thing. So it's just expanding their move list, kind of giving each thing a different reason to be used.
I have something also, a slower forward 4.
Yes, the 4-4 is a couple of frames slower, and the hit advantage on some of his special moves has changed, like his pounce. I think it's now, I don't know. So
You don't need to give the exact numbers, Steve.
We're not going to give a lot of numbers.
The tail flip, a couple of his moves had obscene amount of hit advantage before, like he could really run up and start doing his pressure, and it's now been slightly normalized.
Yeah, it's more on par with rest of the characters.
Right, awesome. The Rekkas as well.
The Rekkas, a big change is you can no longer delay the regular series of moves. You have to just do them, 1, 2, 3, and there's no delay at all. He still has the guessing game at the end between the grab, the low, and the overhead, but you can no longer do only 2 hits and then jump over them, or only do 1 hit and staggering it. If he wants to delay, he has to EX it.
Yeah, and the enhanced one can still be delayed, and it still has the advantage and stuff.
Gotcha. Let's discuss.
Kung Lao.
Well, there's an acidic change too.
Oh, okay.
The dot damage on acidic has been adjusted.
Yeah, some of it was there were a couple of the moves that were stacking the dot more than it should have, so those are stacking it more on par with everything else. So you'll see less damage overall, but it still does stack and it still does do a decent amount of damage. It's just a matter of not overly stacking like it was.
And the self-cut, when he cut himself, it used to only do 1% to him, it now does 3 for the regular and the EX. So his self-cut is still a great move, especially when you're in the corner, but now it's going to hurt him a little bit more than it did before. Now it's something you actually probably need to think about, because it'll let, if you do 2 cuts, that's 6% he's hurt himself.
Yeah, I tried to petition to make the EX do 50%, and Paulo was not happy.
That would
a little too
be
much.
extreme, yeah.
That's why I don't balance your design games, everybody. Kung Lao. We're going to do Hat Trick. A lot of people wanted to kind of learn more about Hat Trick.
A lot of people ask for buffs for Hat Trick, so what we got going on?
A lot of it was just cleaning up the speed and hitboxes and a lot of the hat calls. So now they come back at a consistent speed, and the speed which he recovers from the opponent is the same. So that should make a lot of the combos a lot easier to do. You won't have to do as much as like improv on the spot. It'll generally make getting combos off whenever you do successfully hit somebody with the hat trick throw. You can get your combo more consistently now.
Awesome.
That's great.
And then Kung Lao's the enhanced teleport is a lot quicker, and it's his current like only armor move in most of the variations. So like right now there's no more armor on the EX spin because that's one of the fastest moves in the game. But the enhanced teleport has armor on it, and that move's actually very quick now. And because of the delayed wake up and other adjustments, it's a lot easier to get off now. And then we also open up the window on the down up moves so that the info window is a little bigger, so that should make his and Goro's a little easier to do also.
Awesome. Another thing about Kung Lao is Paulo went through a lot of his normal attacks that were kind of slow, or the reward wasn't that great on hit, or they were punishable, and really like cleaned them up. Like his forward 2-1, down 1, all 3 hits are now safe, so that'll be a great stagger strain. His back 1 is now 7 frames startup, but it's a high, but the whole string now comes out a lot faster. His forward 3, down 3 has changed on hit and block. I think the last hit's now advantage, but it's a high now, so his offense should be a lot more interesting. There should be like 3 or 4 new moves that you can really use that weren't really that useful before that have now opened up.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and because of a lot of the armor changes, there were a lot of strings that, because they had gaps in them and stuff, people didn't want to use them a lot. But a lot of those gaps now aren't as much a disadvantage to you. So there'll be a lot more reasons to use some of those strings.
Awesome.
And it'll be more of a guessing game with every guy whether or not he wants to use his arm to get through it or backdash or just block.
Okay.
So a couple fan favorites. Let's try out Demolition Sonya and Balance Kenshi.
And Buzzsaw. All the Buzzsaws now do a little bit more damage, and the EX overhead one now hits overhead when it comes down.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's generally easier to combo if you get somebody with like, if you throw an upward buzzsaw and they jump into it, or if they get hit airborne out of a regular buzzsaw, you can actually get dive kick more consistently now to be able to like improv combos with buzzsaw just by trying to zone somebody out.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, moving on to Sonya. Demo Sonya.
Sonya Blade.
Balanced Kenshi.
Yeah, we saw a gif of the Balance Kenshi
We did.
changes.
We did.
Awesome.
So Demolition Sonya is a good example of, I think, of a philosophy to tone down offense just a notch or 2. In this regard, it would be to the reward. So now she can only use 1 of each type of grenade in a combo. So you can use a stun grenade, and then you are disabled from using another stun grenade in the same combo. But you can still use... You can still have negative edge on and get that. You can use the explosive rocket to get a second rocket in your combo.
What do you mean, rocket or grenade?
We've changed all grenades to rockets.
She's
That's
now
his
shooting
patch,
rocket.
Yeah, so the actual overall damage she gets isn't that much lower. It's just a matter of the other guy's not going to be stuck in a 20-second combo.
Right.
So we want to make sure that you just weren't stuck in super long combos. Where the damage you still get is pretty comparable. It's a little bit lower, but a lot of it, she still has the getting the grenades out, going to high or low with a lot of her stuff. And with grenades out, that's the general game plan. But we just wanted to tone down the overall just combos that we're doing a little bit of too much damage, and also they just took too long.
Right.
Right, so it's a good example of the philosophy of not completely changing the way she plays, but just making it just a notch less good reward. The other thing is her back one is now significantly slower. It now starts at 19 frames, and the gap between back 1 and 4 is now bigger. So previously the idea was you could armor through it, but like at max range or in the heat of battle, it was very, very difficult to armor through that gap. It's now going to be a little bit easier. So you can kind of see that you blocked the back 1 and then do a reversal to counter the back 1-4.
Cool.
Yeah, let Paulo play too. Come on.
I'm gonna run through some Kenshi changes with the balanced variety.
Yeah, so in balance, the shoulder charge is safer on block, especially from like medium and like a little bit distance out. The EX shoulder charge is actually advantage on block, so you can use it as sort of a move to injure strings into that when the guy's blocking, and then sort of get away or choose to apply more pressure. His overhead slash will now juggle the guy up for a combo, so whether or not you can do it up close in strings, or if you're just sitting back and keeping the guy away with shoulder charges, dropping the overhead on him, to drop an enhanced one, you're going to get some damage, so you can mix that with the teleflurry and stuff. It just lets him do a little bit more damage and improve some of his keep away game.
Okay.
Right, because previously the idea is the Kenshi players would like to zone you with the teleflurry, but then the trick to that is you can duck it. So then you do the overhead slash, but the reward wasn't that great. So then you do the shoulder, but on block that's punishable. Now the EX shoulder will actually be advantage, so you can press it, and then the reward for the overhead strike is a pretty decent amount of damage because now it's in combo. And that also helps him up close, because in the video we showed he just did the teleflurry for 19%. Up close you can do a full juicy combo with that EX overhead.
Yeah, he can run up forward too, so you can actually convert some decent damage from around mid-screen or closer.
Have you seen some PPJ swag on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Kenshi is one of the higher damaging characters in the game. And he also, like Kung Lao, a lot of his normals were kind of switched around. I think his back 2 now recovers better. His forward 4 is now more advantage on block by a little bit. His EX Rising Karma is now safe on block, but it no longer has the armor.
Yeah, it just generally lets you just sort of like play your game, and then he'll still rely on meters, but it's just figuring out where to spend your meter, as opposed to just throwing that out trying to reversal something.
Cool.
So that covers all the new moves that are plus on block.
There's probably more to come.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Not
sorry,
to come.
sorry guys, sorry guys. And is there any other variation changes to either of these characters that you guys kind of want to go over, like
Yeah,
like that?
In Kenjutsu, the EX sword, the down back 1, the sword uppercut move, no longer has armor, like most of the armored pop-ups. But the big change is it's now safe on block, it's -7. Which means, if you choose to use the bar, Kenshi has a safe on block 50-50 launcher, because you can do 4-2 in the EX sword. But he has to use the resources, so it's kind of the gambit between, do I think you're not going to block correctly, I'm going to use the bar or not? And then his armored push now has 2 hits of armor.
Okay.
So you can see, that's just another example you'll see when the patch notes come out, where some armor has been removed, but like Paulo said, some of the armor moves that weren't that great before have been buffed.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Let's move it on. This is a good one for you, and you'll enjoy this one. Royal Storm Katana and Cryomancer Sub-Zero. Now, a lot of people saw in our GIF situation that Cryomancer now has a command grab.
Is this true?
That GIF was about a second long. How would you figure that out?
Well, everyone on...
I didn't actually see a grab.
Oh, no, it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people think they know exactly what happens and why he's now the best character in the game.
Right.
Yes.
So,
I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw those GIFs and they knew exactly what all the changes were.
okay.
So now in Cryomancer, if you go to do the string you had before it went to grab, it'll do the same one as the other variations. And the grab that used to be in there is actually now a standalone special move. And from there, you can go into the other special. So if you grab bar, you can go and you can continue some combos. Overall, that move does less damage by itself, so it's not super damaging, but it's just a matter of being able to mix in that grab with the stuff makes the Cryomancer his most offensive variation, which is what it was always intended to be. And it's got a few like tick throw setups and stuff in there. So it's generally meant to be Cryomancer is the get in your face Sub-Zero, whereas the like Unbreakable is the run away with the clone. Sort of differentiates the two, and it gives reason to play the other two variations.
And to complement that, his forward 1 string has also been changed.
Yeah, it's a little quicker. So it's a little quicker of like a faster mid. To use the strings, and then from the forward 1-2, you can actually take throw off of that. And as down 1 and down 3, you've gotten a little better too.
Awesome.
And in Unbreakable, the parry has now had a significant recovery buff. It now recovers a lot faster, especially the EX1.
Yeah, the X1 covers, I believe it was only like 5 frames of recovery afterwards, so it's actually very hard to punish that one.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the regular one, so you can sort of just throw out the parry now a lot more often. And because of changes with armor, when he has the aura up, he still keeps the enhanced slide having armor, and it still ends up being a launcher. So it's one of the few examples in the game where there still is an armored launcher, but it's in Unbreakable Sub-Zero and it's only when it's the aura up.
And I think that's a good example of what Ed was saying, where Paulo wanted to be careful about buffing some of the mid-tier or the lesser-used characters, because when you bring the top tier down, or when you change the mechanics of the game, what used to be average becomes exceptional. So Sub-Zero, when he had the buff up, the slide launching you, that was kind of a neat trick before. It was kind of a fun gimmick. That is now one of the only armored launchers in the game. So that's like a, 10 frame or 9 frame armored launcher. So that's now one of the best armor moves in the game. Not because we changed it, but because we left it the same.
Yeah.
So that's like a key example of that.
Okay.
I got a friend named Tan that no matter what we tweet, he will respond buff Unbreakable. It could be like, hey, have a great day. Hey, buff Unbreakable. So now we've got some good changes in there for him as well.
In my opinion, whiffed counter and the EX counter is now a legit strategy that I would use in tournament if I played Sub-Zero. I would do it.
Awesome.
Speaking of somebody you did play in tournament,
Katana, her back two was sped up to be 18 frames instead of 25. It still only does a little damage and knocks you down, so it's not the greatest overhead in the world, but it's probably unreactable now, so that's a really nice buff for her. Off her float, she can do angle jump in, like she can do forward, jump in, punch, and back, which is kind of the same thing we did for Shinnok, and someone else got that. Kenshi, right. So that puts it in line with that. Her throat slit EX is now actually safe on block and has more pushback. A lot of pushback. I think it's -9 or something like that now. So it's kind of a low risk, low reward armor move. Another change is there's more pushback on this, so it's better as a zoning tool. And her fans do 1% more damage. But then the big thing is she can no longer combo off her EX Rising fan normally. She can't just do a special move. She can only do an EX move. So we've added an EX Air Fan and an EX Float. The Princess Flutter. And that'll let her use it. So the idea is she's one of the few characters in the game that will have an armored launcher, but she has to use 2 bars to do it.
So she has new moves then.
Essentially, yeah. Sort of.
And those 2 enhanced moves only come out of the float, so they're not moves you do generally.
Right.
Just
Like
from the uppercut, you can then go into the enhanced float or the enhanced air fan toss.
so that's big.
Yeah, it's a big deal because that's exactly what I was just saying, where that's now exceptional. Even though she has to use bars, that's still a great, great defensive tool. So her zoning is a little bit better, her footsies are a little bit better because of the range, the pushback on the lift, and now her defense is better with safer armor, and then the ability to use 2 bars to get a combo.
Awesome.
And the additional damage also applies to Mournful. The glaive now does extra damage too, and she can do the EX glaive from the Rising Fans as well.
Cool. Excellent. We want to take a quick break to handle a technical issue real quickly. You hit the starting soon frame for me there, Jen. We'll be back in about probably 2 minutes.
Milena. Takeda.
All right, here we are again. Sorry about that. Just going to lower the camera, kind of get it a little closer in.
Well, I've been working on my core. I wanted to show that off on the camera.
I have not. So we got a character that's near and dear to your heart. We got Melina coming up.
Oh, I
and
love her.
Takeda. So and just so you know real quick, we're going to go through these matchups, and then we're going to go back to the character select screen and just kind of talk about a few other characters.
Yep.
We'll go through that way, okay?
So, Melina. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys.
Well, the big thing is her back one, both in piercing and in no variation, is now a high attack.
Okay.
It's actually been sped up, but yeah, it's now high to give people a better chance to kind of poke back. Before, she kind of dominated this mid-range game, but now the opponent will be able to do. They're down 4, they're down 3.
Sure.
A little bit easier.
Yeah, some of that will open up her moveset where there's reasons to use other buttons. And because it's actually faster, she can actually use it as more of like a guaranteed punishment after some moves, or sometimes she had trouble punishing stuff around like the 9 to 10 frame range. And it'll also make it easier to jail somebody after a lot of her things leave you standing. Now you can jail with the back one into block pressure, and then same thing with going into the low side.
So after we put out the GIF, right, people were like, oh my gosh, you're not allowed to combo off the normal ball anymore.
Right.
What can you explain or show us what's going
That
on
seems
there?
like random conjecture.
It seems like just stuff people are making up.
Yeah, it turns out that wasn't the case at all. The actual GIF was about EX roll. So this is EX roll normally now. She does not get a combo.
So you do not get a combo.
It's still an overhead, it's still pretty good damage, but you do not get a combo. It still has armor.
Right, so it kind of follows the new rules that we're kind of
Yes.
going with.
But similar to her sister, she can now meter burn it and roll backwards. So for 2 bars, you still get your combo.
Yeah, her ugly stepsister, you're right. And then moving on.
Damn.
Just saying, I'm just saying.
Okay. That's rough.
I'm throwing it out there.
What else? Is that all we got from Melina?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
She has some she had some overall combo damage scaling changes where it'll bring down the overall combos a little bit, but it still does comparable damage. It's something in the small percentages, but it'll keep the higher combos that are in the 50 ranges and bring them down a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Takeda.
Takeda?
I say Takeda. Takeda, what do you say?
Takeda.
Am I the one who says Takeda?
No, I say Takeda.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's the only thing we patch is how we pronounce the name.
All right, moving on.
So, what do we got here, guys?
So this is another one where his back two overhead is a little bit slower startup. It should be a little bit easier to see it coming and react to it. When he has the, I can't figure out how to even drop the blade. When he's got the blade out, when you do the quick call, it still recovers very quickly and the combos are still the same. But if the opponent's blocking, there's some additional recovery frames in there. If you do the quick call while the opponent's in blocking, block stun.
We would have had to change the name if it was no longer quick call.
Yeah, it's still pretty quick. It's just not as quick if the opponent's blocking.
Sure.
Now that it's
Great.
Well, we weren't going to make it slow call.
no.
Right.
No.
It's not going to be called slow call.
Right.
We could have just been call.
Sure.
Yeah.
And of course, like we said, there's definitely some other things you'll see.
Yeah, there were some hitbox adjustments, like things on like his back one. It has a little bit less range. So there were a couple of instances where there were some characters where he could keep locked down in the corner, where now you'll be pushed back a little bit after one loop of it. And stuff like that's been done generally across the board with other characters too.
And in his other variations, his tri-kunai block stun has been changed a little bit. So he won't get guaranteed like forward one and stuff off of it.
And some of those, like people think that those are going to be drastic changes now, where it's going to be sort of a gamble for you to go on your offense. But because of all the other overall armor changes, it sort of balances itself out. But it makes the game a lot more even, where it's a lot more of just knowing what your opponent's going to do and feeling out your opponent.
Right, like he'll still be an advantage on these quick call mix-ups, but they can armor now. But if he reads the armor, he can punish it, and if he's wrong, the reward for their armor won't be as strong. And another one is, he's another character that had launching armor that he can now use 2 bars to do it. So his back forward 2,
Yeah,
It's a little under armor.
yeah, but it doesn't launch normally the EX. But you can still go and enhance the enhanced move already. So you can like double spend your meter and to still get a combo. So there's a few exception characters that can get like armored moves that can get off, but then it'll take 2 bars to do it. And some of his combo damage has been brought down a little bit too, so you don't get as much damage overall for it.
So you can meter burn some EXs now to get a pop-up or follow-up
Right.
combo.
We'll see some more of those later too.
Absolutely.
Next one, this will be a fun one for everybody. Kung Jin,
And Borracho!
Bo Raicho, Dragon's Breath, and Shaolin.
I saw a lot of people calling for some Shaolin buffs. Did this
I
happen?
think I saw one person.
I don't-
Yeah.
Okay, it really
And his
was
name
one
is-
person, but
yeah.
I follow him, so I was like,
his name is
okay.
Frank.
Yeah, okay, yes, you're right. All right. Sorry. Try to be, sneaky about
Yeah,
it.
it didn't work.
Similar to other characters that had a really, really fast overhead, his has been slowed down a little bit. And for Shaolin, one of the big changes is the damage and the block stun on his up flip and the drop. Before you'd see a lot of just doing overhead or low into this constantly, and there wasn't a lot to do about it. There wasn't a lot you could do about it. So one of the things we did is, if he does not delay it, if he just does it as fast as possible, it will now be pretty easy to punish. Any character they need can just go for a punish. But if you delay it, it will go back to being safe, but then they can armor through it. Or you could just do this by itself, which is punishable. So there's like 3 different layers of a guessing game. So it's more of, instead of Kung Jin just do it. Now they have to think a little bit about what they're going to do, and you have to think about what they're going to do. So Tyler does the non-delay, and I punish it, but then he goes for the delay, but I wasn't ready, so I didn't armor the gap. And then back and forth, and there's many Yomi layers there. It gets to like level 7.
Why did you bring me up when it comes to Kung Jin?
Did you guys actually do this before?
No, I'm usually the one playing Kung Jin.
Alright. Interesting.
And in Bojutsu, you'll see a lot of little fun changes too, like the EX SWAT doesn't have armor anymore, but like Paula was saying, some of those EX moves have now been buffed in other ways, so it's now actually advantage on block. I think it's +3 or something like that.
Yeah, and it's got very slow startup, so there's a gap where they can go and backdash out of it or try to use their own armor to get through it. But because of a lot of the strings where you can start with the over to the low, he can now go into that move and it'll be plus a block, but there's a gap there. So it gives a little bit more of a guessing game, and then it should help some characters be able to defend against it.
And then in Ancestral, pretty much all the arrows have been improved.
Yeah, there's increased block stun on most of them and pushback, especially on the flame arrows. So he'll be able to like sort of use the arrows to keep people out, and also Ancestral actually had some decent combo damage, and it still is keeping most of that combo damage. And then there's been some combo damage reductions on Bojutsu and Shaolin, so it should bring its 3 variations more on par with each other.
Awesome.
Now, I will say this. I did get a lot of tweets about Bo Raicho. Would you agree with that?
Yes, Master Boraicho, Master of Combat.
That's Goro.
No, he actually, his bio says Boraicho, Master of Combat.
Well,
Learn the damn game, Tyler!
Bo Raicho? Goro's Master Combat too?
Why can't there be 2 Masters of Combat?
But then Goro loses to Lao.
Okay, you know what? Let's...
Goro lost to Liu Kang in canon, who was trained by known master Boraicho.
You know what I gotta take? I gotta hold that.
Yeah.
He Kung Lao lost to Liu Kang, but Boraicho's the master of combat.
Weird, right?
He's a master, man!
Let's see what he does now.
The thing about Boraicho is his offense was always great. I don't think anyone really disputes that. When he gets you in the corner and he starts going in, it's very overwhelming. Very, very good stuff. But
Dropping that gas.
yeah. You know, he starts doing the meaty farts and the ignited farts, and he can really open you up. But he kind of struggled against zoning, so we wanted to give him a little bit of help against that. He can now use his Dragon Breath thing and absorb a fireball, and then in Bartitsu you saw in the GIF we tweeted that the little spinning cane will blow up projectiles too. And this works against almost every projectile in the game.
Yeah, even some enhanced ones and even some bigger projectiles. And so in general, you can sort of just, and this move recovers a little quicker too, so you can sort of just whip it out to sort of build meter by just like trying to like dance around and play your opponent and then pick your spots to get in. His forward dash is a little bit quicker now. It recovers some frames faster than most other ones. It's actually one of the faster ones in the game. Same thing with his back dash. It recovers a little quicker, so you can, if he's trying to back us out of your gaps, he'll actually be, a lot of times be recovered safe enough to actually punish back. And the same thing with his run into starts up a few more frames faster than it did before, so he can sort of get in. So it sort of lets you pick your spots to get in. And then once you get in, his offense is still the same as it was, which was really good.
It's like I capped his running. That's what it looks like to me.
It does, yeah, you're right. Although I don't think anybody's ever seen you run, I believe you.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of like just general bug fixes, like if you did the cast move and it hit the opponent on the last frame, they were actually able to block. So there was actually like a bunch of like small bug fixes here and there that should help characters out too. And some of those are covered in the patch notes.
Awesome.
Let's move on to, we got, this will be a fun one. One of my favorites, and one of my least favorites to fight against. Shinhawk and Cage.
Which is which?
We're going to do...
which one do you hate to fight
Oh,
against?
right. I like Cage, I don't like fighting against
Okay, there you go.
I'm gonna say this right now on stream. When I go to the ESL events, I've played against a ton of the top players, you know? I've taken some rounds, maybe a couple games, not very much.
Even Sonic.
I've taken a round off Sonic.
Even Sonic.
That's
all better than a lot of people.
That's true.
He's gonna tweet that I haven't, but I have. He might have been giving it to me.
And he
But
can hold that.
I will say this: Wound Cowboy Shinnok was the most frustrating thing I ever played against.
So the big thing about Shinnok is he's one of the characters where his block advantage was toned down on his EX skulls. They're now only +5 on block. And, so that's a big negative for him, but he also got some little pluses in other areas to make some of his lesser used moves a little bit better. Like his 4-3 now has noticeably better range. His amulet is now significantly safer on block and has better recovery. So like Bow Raicho, it can destroy projectiles, but the recovery was always pretty long. Now the recovery is a lot better, so it's more viable.
Oh, do it again.
Yeah. It always had this ability, but the recovery kind of made it not worth doing. So now it's a lot better.
He could always do that.
Yeah. He's been able to do it for a while.
Whoops. I knew that. Remember that there?
Yeah, you used to do it to me all the time.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Moving on.
And then there's a lot of changes throughout. So for Imposter, this used to grant a long hit advantage where he could actually steal a move, waste the move on purpose, and then go for another move into what we'd call a vortex, which is just a scenario where you have no option but to guess right. That's now kind of been normalized, so at the end of a combo, he won't have as much time once he steals a move before you can recover.
Awesome.
He's still going to be an advantage, but it won't be like the 800 frames of advantage he used to be.
Yeah, it's essentially he'll just have to. He can just sort of do the fastest move he can as quick, and then still get you like a throw or a forward 4. But he won't be able to like jump over and do all the kind of shenanigans he used to do before. Same thing with teleport.
Shinnok shenanigans. Those are the worst.
And then in Bone Shaper, his Fireball is now -9 instead of -12.
Oh, bro, you're
because
going off script, man.
Whoa.
Good move. I like it.
And you're not a bone shaper.
I know. I just wanted to say that. I'm going to show Necromancer.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So Necromancer, the big change, we kind of hinted at it. Well, actually, we just kind of showed it. Is that he can cancel his Bone Hands, the stomp. Or is it a stomp if it's a hand? Or does that specifically have to be a leg?
What's the move list say?
Judgment Fist.
Yeah, no, it's
So it's like a
clearly a judgment.
Okay, well, he's judging you with this Bone Hand Fist.
The
You
hand
cannot
stomp.
cancel this.
Yeah, so a lot of times if somebody's going to run in and they're going to do like an advancing move to punish you, now you can backdash it and cancel it and punish it. Or just sort of fake your opponent out. And it needs it to go a little bit easier.
Awesome. Anything else around there you want to go over? Or should we hit Johnny Cage?
I think we're ready for Johnny Cage.
All right. Fist the buffs.
Johnny Cage can do this.
All right, moving on. Next.
Well,
Okay,
Pretty
dokie.
cool.
Yeah.
What does that do for him?
So that'll actually let you cancel your fisticuffs into any other string or special move. So if you go into something like that and do fisticuffs and then do that and cancel it into a string, then actually continue some combos. It's a little bit different than like the other cancels in the game. And the actual frame you can do it is at any point after you've activated, and you can actually delay that a little bit. So you can sort of even use it on blocks. You can do a forward 3, fisticuffs, and then you can enhance it if you think your opponent's going to do something, and then do forward 3 again, or do like a nut punch or a special move, or go into fisticuffs in the corner and force them to block.
But EX Nut Punch,
No longer has armor.
Yeah.
Huh.
so 90% of my game.
Yeah, would you do
Yeah.
a nut punch followed by another nut punch? Can you still
Yeah.
do that?
You can still
Yeah,
do
you
that.
Oh, well, then your game's still
If your
there.
opponent knows how to block, they'll probably get to punish you.
Well, I play Derek a lot, so.
Yep. Right trigger, don't use it.
Speaking of punishing, we didn't talk about counter.
Oh.
I don't know if
Okay.
that was on the notes to cover that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we didn't. Okay, moving on. Is there any other general changes or whatnot with Johnny Cage you guys want to go over?
You can go stunt double.
Yeah, stunt double. When you have a mix out and you do the EX Shadow Take, that now actually has armor.
Yeah, so he actually has a armored move from full screen when he's in stunt double. The other variations don't have. So it'll sort of even out his variations. He set some damage adjustments throughout for A-list and stunt double also. So those will do comparable damage. So now there isn't as much of a set. Hey, this variation's better than the other ones. You want
Right.
to make them all even.
And that's kind of more of a global thing too that you guys have been really working for, is making all the variations pretty much equal versus people kind of just pushing towards one or the other,
Yeah.
right?
And like we talked about A-list, a lot of the changes we talked about earlier help bringing him back into comparable range with the others.
Right, like A-List was a character or a variation before that was very, very strong and it had overwhelming offense. But because of the change to stamina, the offense is toned down just a little bit, so it didn't really need to be adjusted that much. And then, like, if it's a character that zones out Johnny Cage really bad and you really want extra armor, that's another reason to use stun double.
Sure.
Yeah, there was a time where maybe picking A-list, if you had high execution,
Right,
like
exactly.
a person like myself, for instance,
Right.
you would only play A-list. There's
Right,
no choice.
absolutely.
Now, I play the other ones to show people that there are other ways. You know?
And there was a rumor also that his down 2 also is a little bit improved as well.
That is one of the ones that's...
Yeah, it used to be.
That was
very
a rumor.
slow.
I wasn't
It
sure
was very
if it's
hard to
true.
uppercut people. Where it's a little bit easier now to uppercut people with him, with a lot of other characters too.
Cool.
Awesome.
This will be a good one here. I've said that about all of them.
Well, they're all wonderful,
They really
but
are.
this one's probably the best.
Well, there's 2 more.
Okay, I'll wait till the last one. That one will be the best.
Duelist Liu Kang versus Venomous Devourer.
Alright.
So Duelist, in the GIF you could see, the idea is he can, when he has a red orb out, he can then go back to light stance and shoot a light fireball and it will ignite. It'll actually blow up and launch the opponent.
Yo, can I do some real rap right now?
Yeah.
Real talk.
This is a hot take.
Here we
This
go.
is a hot
This
take.
is a hot take. I play this game a lot. You know that I play a lot of different characters, probably to my undoing.
Yeah.
I know literally nothing about Duelist Liu Kang.
Well, now you're going to learn something.
That's my hot
So
take.
this is exciting.
That's my hot take.
So the hot take was that you don't know what you're talking about with Duelist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. So Duelist has 2 different... No, never mind. You can just...
Duelist also does dot damage when they're hovering or when they're standing near the orbs.
Dark Orbs.
And also
Right.
stop them from running in. So a lot of times if you have an orb stop, people sort of just ran in and just punished you or just ran over you when you put the orbs out. Now if there's an orb out, it's actually going to stop them from running. So you'll sort of have to get past the orb then to move in.
Similar
And
to
you
the
can-
Caltrops.
And then if he shoots fireball and you happen to block the orb, he's going to be advantaged on block from that exploded fireball. So it sort of gives Duelist a little bit of a keep away game, but then also keeps his very strong pressure.
Awesome.
And then Liu Kang is another character, and Duelist is another variation that benefits from some of the universal changes, which is why, you know, there's only these specific changes rather than, you know, a huge list of buffs.
Right.
So since armor's not as strong, his pressure is inherently better.
Sure. And then, anything you guys want to talk about with Flame Fists that have changed?
It's got some small changes where if you do the enhanced with windmill punches, there's a few more frames before you can cancel out. That should give the opponent, be able to like either backdash or do an armored move out of the next attack, where before you could sort of just jail somebody into some like non-stop block pressure and do a bunch of chip damage. So that's been toned down a little bit.
Flame Fist also had a couple of strings that had a special ender only in Flame Fist that were previously they looked like his back 2 overhead, but they were actually just mid. They're now actual overheads.
Oh, wow.
So you could do a little fun mix-up of like 4-4 standing 2 or 4-4 low fireball. And it just kind of makes sense that his back 2 was an overhead and now those are 2.
That's cool. Very good. So, Venomous, folks.
The big thing about Venomous is her EX Hug Burst move has basically been redone as a big burst. Instead of being able to hold it, it just does burst damage. I think it does 13%. And then it actually has armor, because one of Devore's weaknesses across all variations was her armor was among the weaker in the game. So now Venomous has this big, bright, buggy bullet point that it has her best armored move. And it's a safe on block armor move that does a pretty good chunk of damage.
Yeah, and along with like the run changes, it'll give you a little bit of reason to at least look at Venomous as opposed to Swarm Queen, where Swarm Queen has been hit by some of the overall like just run damage changes, where Venomous relies on just other stuff for her damage. So it should give people a reason to pick some of the other two variants.
And there's a few tweaks that you can read about for Broodmother 2 that are similar.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Well, we got one more match to show you. Then we're gonna go.
This was the best.
We forgot one Devore thing.
What's
Devore 2 is now a mid attack.
Okay.
That's
How are you supposed to open something up?
Well, that's the thing. This is a good example of kind of trying to expand their move list, because her 4-3 was always a pretty good overhead. But you would never really use it because her 4-2 covered her mid-range game and was her overhead.
Sure.
Now that's still a great, fast, long-range move, but it's not an overhead. So you have to actually use her 4-3 more than you did before.
Yeah, and then going into that on block and some stuff with Swarm Queen, it'll give the opponent at least a window to be able to try to do something or to backdash the next thing.
Looking through Twitch chat, hot take.
Hot take.
Duelist now broken.
Oh.
They say he's the best in the game now.
He's the best
that
in
long
the game
for-
now?
See, look at that tier list. It's just...
All right.
Tier list is already made.
Shift.
Warlock Quan Chi versus one of my favorites, Quatan Warrior Goro.
Prince Goro,
Prince, the master of combat.
former champion of Mortal Kombat for 9 generations.
How long is a generation?
A long time. I mean, he is very old. He
Okay.
was undefeated for exactly 500 years.
500. So I guess it's about 9 generations.
I forgot about Steve's lower corner.
Oh yeah,
That's-
it's
That
hot
was
today.
more a minute.
All right, so let's get started with Quan Chi.
All right, so the big thing that made everyone freak out is no longer an overhead. It is a mid. If you charge it, it's still an overhead. But just normally, this strategy of just doing this and then doing meter burn runes, that why not strategy has changed. That's gone.
Yeah, and that move had a very long reach and it was very
Right.
quick. It was
So
one of the
similar-
being a mid, it's one of the fastest mids in the game. It's supposed to be one of the fastest overheads in the game.
Sure.
So similar to the Devora change, it's not that we don't want you to use this, but maybe think more about using it for its range and not the fact that it's an overhead. But this is the context. Context spelled with a K.
Oh.
Forward 4 is now an overhead.
Oh.
Forward 4 is a few frames slower on startup, so
And you gotta be close.
yeah, you gotta
Right.
be close. So it doesn't have the range, but you can sort of still have that overhead option, but the opponent can sort of see that one coming and block it.
And forward 4 into the runes has a gap. So it doesn't have the range it used to have, and you can now armor through it, but he still is, a good mix-up character.
Awesome.
So everybody calm down,
Yeah, just relax.
relax.
They're on like DEF CON 4.
Right.
And then there's a new sword stab.
It's just the sword staff now has 2 hits of armor on it, so he actually has a good armor move. There's something to do from max range that the other variations don't have. So like the stomp is still a pretty slow armored move, where in this variation it has a still pretty fast armor move with the sword stab, because the other scoop, the enhanced low scoop, still launches, so it doesn't have armor on it anymore.
Sure.
It actually has 3 hits of armor.
What?
Yeah, one of the very rare exceptions. That's wacky, yeah. 3 hits of armor.
Tell me again.
He's a wizard, man.
Yeah, makes sense.
Master of combat Goro.
Goro is one of the characters that really benefited from looking through the move list and seeing moves that could be sped up a little bit or made safer. He's got a bunch of them. His forward 2 is now faster. His 2-1-4 string is now safer. His forward 3 has a noticeable range increase. Yeah, you can see. So that'll be really, really good in that kind of jump mid-range game. His fireball has been made significantly faster, including the EX1. Yeah, you can see it's definitely a lot faster. And when the patch notes come out, you can see there's 5 or 6 different little frame changes and range changes that we made to his normal attacks.
Yeah, and if you block his enhanced punch walk, all 6 hits will actually come on block now, doing a good amount of chip damage, but that's unsafe on block. But then you can go and enhance it and then spend some meter to become a little bit of an advantage on block. So he still has that rushing down punch walk game, but it's just you're going to have to spend your meter to do it. And he still has a very good armored move in the punch walk, but then he's going to have to spend additional bars to juggle anyone else.
So corner carry got a little better, would you say?
Yeah.
And another thing, just like we talked about earlier, the down-up moves that have gotten easier to do. Now, pulling off Goro's EX stomp is easier.
That should be a little bit easier. Same thing with doing it on wake up, where
Yeah.
if you hit down before when you're doing the block and you do down first, your chance of getting a delayed wake up are reduced a little bit.
Okay.
And he's another character that will have 2 hits of armor on more than one of his moves. A couple of his different moves have 2 hits of armor, including the stomp.
Yeah, and his command grab and stuff. So, yeah.
Right.
So he's
And
still
the
very
chest
good up
lunge.
close. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the armor. It's no longer his armor game is no longer just punch walk, punch walk, punch walk. Why are you doing anything but punch walk? It's now his armor will be spread around like 5 different moves that'll be pretty good to use.
Yeah, and there'll be different reasons for using each one.
Exactly. And it's not just Quatan Warrior. Tiger Fury had similar changes to the recovery of his fireball, his EX breath, and there's various little changes that'll help the high level players.
Awesome.
Let's go to the character select screen real quickly before we close this out and kind of go over just some characters we missed. Just there's some things like they're getting changes, but we can't really show them.
Jackie, similar to Goro, there's nothing interesting to really show, but there's a whole bunch of little minutia over frame data.
Any big changes for say Triborg?
Triborg's overhead, like a lot of them, has been slowed down a little bit. I think it's now like 21. The forward 1-3 string now has more hit advantage, now cancel advantage. So you can see in our GIF, you can now do forward 1-3, and then the freeze blast will actually combo.
Sure.
He also had a lot of bug fixes where with Sub-Zero and with Cyrax, if you were frozen by his net and then he blocked any kind of delayed move on the same frame, the opponent actually got out like instantly. So a lot of our designers have actually been fixing a lot of bugs we've seen over like since the last patch, and they've been working hard to fix some of those bugs. And a lot of those bug fixes are in this patch.
Did Devora get any bug fixes?
Because she has bugs, people.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Another thing with smoke, his smoke bomb now only hits like absolutely on the ground. So if you make the read that he's going to do it and you jump over it, you will not be caught. So while his like 50-50 game is still really good, the risk is a little bit higher than it used to be. So like if he does back one smoke bomb and you don't want to armor through it, you can either jump over him, and some people can actually punish him with a neutral jump punch, or maybe jump over him and get your pressure going.
Yeah, if you have a dive kick, you do an instant dive kick. It's sort of like, because the back one's a little slower now too, you can sort of see that coming, block it, and then you see he's going to do a smoke bomb and jump out.
I think, to me, the big change with these overheads being slower is they're still great, but when you compare that with the stamina change, it'll make running up and doing your overhead less viable of a strategy, and that opens up your move list. Like, if you look at a character like Cassie, her 4-3 was extremely fast, so she could just run up and do it. It was very, very hard to react. Now her 4-3 is a little bit slower, and, it takes more to start running, and it's more risky to start running. So she's going to have to condition you in the mid-range with her back one, or her jump in, or her down 4, and not just run up and immediately go for her best tool.
What about my main man, Kano?
Oh, that could have been anybody for a second.
Yeah, it really could have been.
Oh, Kano,
my main man, Predator.
Cutthroat was the main that was adjusted. His back one now, only the first hit will come out on block. If he does back 1, 2-1, only the first hit comes out. And that's, I think, minus 15 now. So he no longer got he used to get the strategy. He would do his overhead, then he would go into the EX pump up, and he would continue to make you guess. Now his overhead is still, it's still a good move that does good damage, but his turn is over, and now you can kind of counter him.
Yeah, like some other characters, if your opponent's blocking or block stun, when you go to do the pump up buff move, Kano will actually be at some more disadvantage on block. So there's some additional recovery frames on it where he'll still be plus. He just won't be plus in the double numbers and force you to sort of get higher low mix-ups on top of higher low mix-ups.
Commando,
his armor moves have 2 hits of armor, the grabs, the choke, and then they're pretty much the same, and he's part of that philosophy of Commando Kano. What was his real flaws is that there wasn't a lot of reason to pick him. But now, if armored launchers have been drastically toned down, doing that, 20% damage of those throws is now a much better reward than you would normally get.
Yeah, which depends on what your opponent's doing too. Where the other 2 current variations don't have 2 hits armor on something.
Right.
So that'll give you a reason to play Commando. The Commando still hurts more than the other 2 Kano.
What about, say, Master of Storms?
Master of Storms, the damage, the proximity damage that it does when you're standing over one of the traps, that damage has actually been doubled, so it's quite a bit of a damage increase. And Raiden overall has had a bunch of just overall adjustments on his basic attacks. So there's a lot of moves that are either safer on block or have more pushback. So that'll let you sort of overall play with his buttons while setting up the traps. It also helps the other 2 Raiden variations also.
I also realized we forgot a major Lord Shinnok change.
Oh.
The EX shoulder still has armor, but the little energy blast at the end is no longer part of it. You now can meter burn that, and it'll actually pop you up for a combo. So like Katana, Melina, and a few other characters, Takeda, he can do his EX move to have armor, EX shoulder, and then if it hits, meter burn it, and you can get a combo. And he can do that with his regular as well. So it'll be a guessing game. Like, he can do his low into the shoulder, and then you can punish it. But if he thinks you're going to punish it, he can meter burn it. But if he meter burns it, he uses his resources, and there's a whole guessing game.
Yeah.
I'm already lost. I'm already lost on that.
And there's a gap there too to add some questions.
Okay, great, yeah, all right. And one more? Do we want to do one more?
We can keep going forever if you want.
We could go
Ermac.
Oh, Ermac's a good one.
There it is. I knew I had a good one.
He's another overhead that's been slowed down. I think it's a 16 frame startup now. So again, you saw a lot of Ermac players where they were just using the overhead both in their mid-range game and as an overhead. So now as an overhead, it's not quite as good as it used to be, but it'll open up using his other normal attacks. His EX push in Mystic is a safe move that steals life and health, and it had massive pushback. The pushback's been adjusted just a little bit, so that you're a little bit closer. So it's still safe. It's still a tremendous armored move, which it should be. He's a defensive character, but now he's a little bit closer when he blocks it, so you can kind of counter poke him back.
Okay.
And he's had a lot of damage scaling adjustments.
Yeah.
I feel like that. Do you feel good about that for now?
Yeah, a lot of it is just I'm sure people are excited to get these patch
Yeah.
notes and just dive
So the
into it.
quicker we get done here, the quicker I can get the patch notes put up.
There it is.
But we do have a belt battle.
Are you guys ready with these changes? Like, it's just gonna be.
That's
rolling?
funny. That's funny that you say it because I haven't gotten really a chance to play the game. You know, I've been hard at work doing what I do, I guess. And apparently, Tyler's been playing with Steve like every single day.
Is that true?
However, I will say in Tyler's defense, he's been experimenting with multiple characters.
Which is his main problem. Paula, can you please hold it?
Which I won't be doing today.
Multiple different characters. You left that part out as well.
Well, there is rumors
Oh,
of different
jeez.
characters. I've heard rumors of Prince Goro.
Okay.
I've heard rumors of Ermac.
Okay.
I've heard rumors of Ferritor.
Oh my goodness.
Just go, Jason.
It's probably good.
All right, you might want to check your buttons. I know how. What are you doing?
We're gonna test your luck
Just
anyway.
test your luck.
Well, I didn't start this.
My bad.
Okay. I have to go through this again because of what you did.
I had a real attitude today.
Every day. Okay. All right. Do you want to check your buttons?
Yeah. Okay, I feel good. Who should I play, Steve?
I think you should just go with Johnny Cage. That's what you're known for. That's your trademark character. Right?
That is what he's known for. Yeah,
No, it's Johnny Cage.
It was Kano
Was it
for a long,
Ermac?
long time. It was Ermac too.
Was it Ferritor?
It was might have been Ferritor
Goro?
for a little bit. It was Goro.
Jax.
Jax was
Jax was like 2 days, and then he's like, I can't
before
even
the
get this.
game was done, dude, Jax has never looked cooler. I'm really gonna look into him. Wrestler really speaks to me.
Could you imagine if I did the combo on stream?
How high would it be? Which, I mean, there is no chance of that.
All right, here we go. So we're doing 2 out of 3?
2 out of 3. Man.
2 out of 3. All right, here we go.
How many times do you think Tyler will do a meter burn fisticuffs cancel?
So far, one.
Okay, well, does it count if you just do it but don't cancel anything?
Well, I'm not quite ready for that yet.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. Are you gonna commentate this match like a professional, Steve?
I always do. Great neutral jump punch.
Oops.
Dropped combo. Okay, I like the
Oh no. Oh no. Oh
That was some good counters going on.
no. Oh jeez, this is horrible.
Now, will Derek concede the round? Oh no, will he use his resources? Very risky use of resources. EX Shadow Kick. Counters it with the low side.
Eek!
And
No!
she would have won if the EX roll still launched on
Oh my goodness.
regular hit.
Or if he had to do it.
Shut.
A little
I
bit
didn't have
better-
meter,
Yeah, a
man.
little bit of better meter management, not just throwing out a
Right.
hand side second of meter.
Derek belongs to the Panic Tournament player school of if I have meter, I have to use it.
Yes.
Well, you're gonna lose eventually, so you might as well spend meter.
No.
Oh, good counter.
Ah. Drop the combo though. What a monstrous surprise today.
Oh no.
Alright, Aztec statue in play. Ooh, throw.
Woo!
That was,
Everybody's applauding at home. Yay! Thanks, guys.
Wow, Tyler just going in, not afraid of that low side at all. No cover up and down one. No meter burning the roll.
The statue seems like a greatly underused interact.
It is really good. Yeah. It does a lot of damage,
No.
and it has a secret
No.
brutality.
Well, it's not any more secret, right? You just told about it.
A lot of characters have a lot of particular
Oh,
setups with
Yes.
the statue there.
This is horrible.
As a Tanya player, when I do her shroud, I like to go for it. Speaking of Tanya, she's another character that got, when you see the patch notes, she got a lot of slight damage increases to a lot of her pyro moves. It should add up. I'm very happy.
What are you doing? There it is.
Wow.
Faction
Faction
kill.
Action.
Yo, y'all, faction kill. Get faction killed.
Johnny Cage.
That's not a thing. No one has ever said that.
I'd like that.
Kill.
Well, I think you're celebrating like you won, but you only won the first game.
But he got faction killed.
That does not add a win to your win count, though.
You playing the same character? Moving on.
Give me a second to think about it.
Has he ever played a different character?
Look, hey,
He plays a really loud Liu Kang.
He plays a scorpion that does nothing but 4-2 and down 4.
Cool.
Gosh, guys, you're so cool. Thanks, friends.
Rematch?
Yes,
A
rematch.
rematch?
A rematch is on.
I'm ready for this.
All right, now we've been in this situation many times before where Tyler has a great opening and then chokes it away. And as I say that, he drops a gun. What do you think?
Has he ever kept the lead and won? I'm trying to think.
He has won about 4 of these.
Okay. Perfect.
Now, who do you personally root for in this matchup? The underdog, or do you always remain neutral, or what? Like, what's your mentality watching this?
My mentality is always nobody.
Okay.
Outside of the general bias for them.
What about you, Steve?
Well, I don't like Melina to win. You know, I'm a katana player. But Johnny Cage beat me in K9 a lot. So I guess I would be neutral.
I played Dizzy the other day, remember? Mm-hmm. Who took her around?
You did, in the cage mirror.
Dizzy, hold that.
Yeah.
I wish I could beat Dizzy.
Maybe someday.
Maybe so.
Well, now that he works here, he's going to get more and more washed up.
That's true.
But we've seen a lot of just raw rolls here, and they seem to have 100% success.
He's doing it at the same time, so I figured that.
Imagine if that roll could be combined.
Right. If that had actually been true. Ooh, excellent whip punish of Tyler's 4 there from Derek.
It's a whiff counter. Not a whiff
Oh,
counter.
sorry.
Oh. Oh no!
Oh, missed the counter.
No!
But there's the counter.
Why am I not hitting that?
I'm just throwing out fall.
Tyler is now openly saying, why am I doing this while playing? That's never a good sign.
Oh yes.
Okay, EX Shadow. Oh, there you go.
So the armor change on the roll didn't affect Derek's gameplay at all. He just
that's-
throw it out.
Right, so far he has not.
Can I get a
given
scoreboard?
roll
What's-
at all.
what's the score?
It's now 1-1, dead even. I think if their armor was completely gone, he could still wake up the EX roll constantly.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, I knew it was coming.
He always jumps there.
Okay, fine.
Oh no.
Oh, no convert though.
Oh, come on.
Mud all over.
Right trigger.
A lot of down
Work
ones.
for me.
Damn it, this is the worst game I've ever played.
Derek is openly talking about what he wants to do but can't do because of his execution.
Yes.
Alligator watching on, trying to lead, doesn't want to see more of this play.
I'm not playing very well.
Alligator's seen enough.
He is just done.
The alligator's leaving to go find Sonic Fox. Oh no. Now Tyler, you know, he won the first game pretty well, and now we find himself Derek on set point right now. Good blocking. Oh, it's looking very grim here. Okay. The CX Shadow Kick's kind of his last stand. Good blocking. Oh, no. But no combo. No punish.
Damn it,
and that'll be it.
Awful. Good game. I didn't play very well. Derek didn't either, though.
You know, sometimes in a high stakes match, it's a sloppy play, and whoever's the less sloppy wins.
I can get my 1-1-3 nut punch off for any. I don't know why.
You got the counter like half the time.
I didn't do it very well though. Well, anyway, hey guys.
Just say one thing. A lot of our designers here like spend a lot of overtime and like time after work working on this patch. Like Nick and Belpani, they were fixing a lot of these bugs and a lot of these gameplay changes and stuff. And especially the QA team. Like a lot of people just worked extra hard on this, and it's something we're going to continue to keep doing is watching out for things in the game and stuff that like is affecting other players and adjusting to it.
Cool.
Awesome.
So thank you everybody here at the studio. Everybody in every discipline who's able to help do all of this sort of thing. It's great. We're very happy to show you everything we did today. Congratulations, Derek, on the belt. Jen, thank you. Thanks to Ed Boone coming in earlier. Steve, Paulo, thanks for coming by to explain this because I certainly couldn't have. Obviously, you saw my play.
Yeah.
It seemed like you let him win, I think.
Yeah.
He gets real
Yeah.
moody if I don't.
A lot of the Melina players were panicking, so you let Melina win to show them, hey, it's going to be okay.
Hey, thanks, pal.
Let me promise you this.
Oh, that was
When
horrible.
Injustice 2 comes around, I'm working my ass off
Oh.
to get better. I just said ass because I'm going to work my butt off.
You're
Right,
serious.
right.
You're serious.
The Death to Rushdown is coming.
I see that. I see that. So again, guys, we're going to keep moving on this. We're going to keep paying attention to you guys, listening to you guys. If anything goes wrong, we'll be totally paying attention to this patch.
And
So,
SCR coming up.
yep,
Should we hit him with the DK out? Hey.
there it is.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll be tweeting out, so will Ed. Everybody else will be tweeting out the patch notes as soon as they're available. I'm going to go do that right